what I want to know is why. Why is it when you are turning the corner and the light turns green and the people start walking across the street because they actually have the white hand to tell them they can walk, but the people behind you are blowing the horn at you like you're supposed to go forward and run the people over? Are we that much in a rush where we have to be doing it? Why? Why do we do that? And I got the phone down because the highway patrol is right here in front of me. And I knew that. I knew that when I was in this area and I hit that live button. I said, the highway patrol office is right across the street. But anyway, did you hear about that story about LaToshia Daniels? LaToshia Daniels is a young lady in Tennessee. She's from Little Rock, Arkansas, but she drove to Memphis, Tennessee to shoot and kill her lover, which was her former pastor. And she went to the lady's house, the wife's house, and was telling the wife what they had going on. Yeah, I'm past the highway patrol now. But I had to put the phone down. Oh, I need to quit doing these lives while I'm in the car. I got to figure out a setup somewhere where I can do these lives at. But anyway, yeah, she drove from Little Rock, Arkansas, purchased a gun before she did. She said, I just wanted to kill myself in front of him because he hurt me. And she conducted a 2-year affair with somebody's husband, and he was a pastor, and this dude was on his live telling a story how he was endorsing something called ethical non-monogamy. What the fuck is that? You know, that's some word salad for your ass right there. And the pastor, he was more focused on getting more women to participate in this ethical non-monogamy, and he was actually purporting for, he was in a group that he called a book club, but they were discussing this book called The Immaculate Slut. Is that what it was? Or the Unconstitutional Slut? Something slut. But anyway, the book was advocating for this ethical non-monogamy stuff to go on, which is basically polygamy. And he said he had his wife's permission that he could participate and find him somebody, but she couldn't. Typical man shit. And he conducted this relationship with this girl, and she had to download this app called you know what, I gotta watch it again because I forget the name of the app, but I need to know the name of this app, where they were communicating and the messages would disappear, and she was never allowed to call him. And if she seen him in public, she wasn't allowed to roll up on him and say nothing to him unless he acknowledged her first. And she conducted herself as he told her, and she spent money on him. And when he would go out of town, he required her to come too, and she had to pay her own way. And when she was in the hotel room, she was required to be naked. And she's like, the last time they conducted their little intimacy together, he was very not nice, and it was not a pleasant experience for her. And she tried to kill herself that night. He took away her gun, and then he tried to, keep her placated for a while. And about 2 weeks after that incident, she said he texted her on that app, that secret app that it starts with a C. I wanted to say Chime, but it's something. Anyway, child, he said, our time has come to an end, and that broke her. So she, with knowledge and forethought, went and purchased a gun, withdrew $500 to give to her elder son who lived at the house because she wanted to leave him something. She wrote a suicide note to her family and explained, She's like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do men keep doing this to me? Because she tells a tale of 2 prior marriages where they were both unsuccessful and the men, did something to her. But the end result of each case with the stories of these men, they cheated on her or they did something wrong to her, did something bad to her, and it mentally broke her. And she drove and bought her a gun, then drove from Little Rock, Arkansas to Memphis, where the pastor had moved and become a pastor of another church. And she went and met up with him at a cigar bar, and he said, yeah, we gonna tell my wife tonight, so just go on to my apartment and we gonna tell her together. So she went over to this lady's house, the pastor's wife's house, at 9-10 o'clock at night, knocking on the door and playing games at the door. So when the wife looks out there to see who it is, she hiding. She claims that she was bending down to tie up her shoe. But anyway, this woman who was conducting an affair with the pastor's wife name is Tabitha. Tabitha and LaToshia Daniels, the mistress, was playing tennis together when they was all going to the same church in Little Rock, Arkansas. Child, you mean tell me the wife didn't know? The wife didn't know that her husband was a philanderer? Anyway, this girl tripping. If you see this man, you be like, you were tripping over him? Girl. Anyway, the wife now has completely separated herself from her, moved back to Jacksonville, Florida, and she has taken on her maiden last name. She don't want to even have the last name that the pastor has. His name was Brodus Perry. Child. Anyway, you come up to me talking about your name is Brodus, I'm gonna be like, nigga, get the fuck out of my face in a real way, okay? Anyway. But yeah, so LaToshia Daniels sat there and talked to the wife, waiting for the husband to get home, and she realized when he got there, he was like, this was not a pleasant surprise, because that's what the wife had texted him. When you get here, I got a pleasant surprise. Well, when he gets there, he said, this wasn't a pleasant surprise. This is trespassing. This is an unexpected visitor. This is what he said about the mistress. She's sitting there like a doofus. And she said, I realized he was not going to tell her about me with him together, and that we were going to conduct this unethical non-monogamy situation. And so I got up to excuse myself to leave. And at the point that she was leaving, the wife walked first out, and then she was second, and the husband was behind her, the mistress, LaToshia Daniels. She turns around to Brodus Perry and says, aren't you going to walk me to my car? That's the gentleman thing to do. That's Southern hospitality. And he was like, no. Basically, get the fuck out. What the fuck you come over here for? So I think her story was a lie, that she met him at the cigar bar and that they made an agreement to meet at the apartment to tell the wife together about their illicit activities. But anyway, I guess that was the final straw for her. She said when she reached in her pocket to pull out her keys, she realized she had the gun she had just bought. So she pulled it out. Instead of putting the gun at herself, she shot him. And she shot him several times, to the point she reloaded the gun. The wife runs back in there screaming for help from the neighbors, and she jumps on her husband to make the girl stop shooting him. And in the process, she gets shot too, but she lives. She got shot in the shoulder. So I'm learning all this from the testimonies at the trial, right? Because, I don't know how I wound up watching this damn trial. But I was invested. I was like, girl. Oh, the whole time, I'm like, she tripping. But the moral to the story is, have you been seeing a lot of these videos where these girls is messing with these dudes and getting involved in relationships with these guys, and they wind up getting unalived by these people that they purportedly love or in love with? And then do you see these stories repeatedly about these women in relationships with guys, and they have these wonderful wedding pictures and wonderful will you marry me videos with the flowers and the candles and people giving them flowers as they walk in and all this extra expedition, only to end in the dude cheating and the dude doing the most? Do you see this video? Because I'll be seeing them. And I'm like, I've come to the conclusion. Anyway, LaToshia Daniels, to finish that story, I'm going to tell you what my conclusion I come to. But LaToshia Daniels got convicted of second-degree murder. her lawyers were advocating for it, voluntary manslaughter. The state was purporting volunteering. They wanted to get a first-degree murder and attempted murder on the wife. And then she said that night, LaToshia said to Tabitha, the wife, that night, she said, "I didn't mean to shoot you. You got in the way." Anyway, the girl shot him, unloaded the clip, and reloaded her gun. When the police came, she was putting the gun in her mouth, gun to her head, gun to her chest. You know, she was just beside herself. Says, "What have I done?" Anyway, girl. See, this is what I want to say. People need to be careful who they messing with, because people are not wrapped too tight these days, okay? Everybody living on the edge of so many different things that are stressors in our lives, and you know, playing with somebody's emotions can definitely send them over the edge. Now, I'm not condoning what LaToshia Daniels did, but I understand, okay? I understand. And the fact of the matter is, she shouldn't have been involved with no married man anyway, no married man pastor to begin with. And their tale is sordid, how they started and how they got it going on and how they kept it going on for 2 whole years. And you mean to tell me that the wife didn't know her husband was a philandering dog? Girl. And then you jump in to try to stop her from shooting him when at the time, you know, Tabitha on the stand is fiending that she knew nothing about this unethical monogamy situation that her husband wanted to participate in. The dude was on his live saying, "I've got my wife, she agrees with this. She don't care if I do this. She supports me. She just gave me rules." She said, "Don't do it with people in our hometown. Don't do it with people where I don't get embarrassed," basically. So if that's what she did say, that says to me that a woman will do anything to keep a piece of a man. And then for the mistress, LaToshia Daniels, to participate in this situation for 2 years with all these different rules and regulations that he put up. You can't contact me normally. You got to contact me on this app with disappearing messages. And if you see me in public, don't acknowledge me. Don't even look at me. Now, if I acknowledge you and roll up on you, then yeah, you can talk to me. But you don't come to me first. And then when I go out of town, I want you out of town with me, but you got to pay for your own travel. And he got in trouble with stealing some of the church money. And that's why he had to leave the church in Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was something like $2,500. And she paid it off for him, so he wouldn't be in trouble. But she didn't pay the whole $2,500. She only gave him like $2,200. And he got mad and cussed her out and said, you know, she's supposed to take care of it. Child. This dude had her mentally twisted. Like, twisted. Anyway, she got convicted of second-degree murder, and another charge she got convicted of. She'll be sentenced in January. The defense was wanting her to get voluntary manslaughter and wanted to take into account that she's been abused by men all her life, because she tells a tale of watching her pastor father beat her mother, and how her first husband just up and left her and moved all her stuff to her mother's house, and she came home. That's how she found out they broke up, and how she was forced into the marriage because she got pregnant earlier, and her pastor father made her marry the boy, and he was her stepdad. He wasn't her father. And then her second husband was emotionally unavailable, and he wasn't beating her or nothing, but he talked to her crazy, and he was emotionally abusive. So she tells all the story, all the different men in her life that did her wrong. And I'm looking at the girl, and I'm like, she got somebody to marry her not once, but twice. Man, I deduce so much from this story. You know, men be offering marriage to women who are conducive and malleable and want to, you know, do all that bullshit with them. You know what I'm saying? A strong, educated woman who said, you know what, I got a maid and a chef and a driver. I'm not washing your motherfucking clothes. I'm not cooking you shit. I don't cook nothing for myself. Nope, she ain't getting no offers of marriage. But these what type of women do. And then she doing all this lapdog type shit, paying off his debt that he done stole from the church, and doing all the stuff, the secretive stuff that he want to do just to be with him. And what was she getting out of this? This is the killing part. This part gonna floor you. This broad was educated. She had a master's degree. She was a licensed social worker or some type of psych, to the point she had her own practice and she had her own office. Yeah, and she a mother of 2 boys. She call them her fellas. Girl. So I'll be watching all these videos of these women getting cheated on after their public display of love with the whole romantic engagement with the flowers and the candles. And then the whole wedding, they spend $20,000-$50,000 on the wedding, this beautiful dress and la la la. I know somebody right now. Yeah, that I used to they were part of a promotion team that I used to do the black parties with. They were on one of the promotion team, not my team, but on one of the yeah, he got married to this beautiful woman, lawyer. Yeah, and you know, he a fine dude, buff, everything, and they had moved to the Dominican Republic, and they was living a life, and they had a beautiful home, pool in the back. And what he do? Guess what he did? Because you know he did something. And now she's somewhere heartbroken and beside herself. She is one of the leaders of the I Hate Men committee at this point. So much so, it turned her against men, to the point she don't even want to be bothered with no man. She want to be bothered with women. Child. I said I was going to talk about it one day, but you know, the subject is touchy, because shout out to the LGBTQ community, because I got love for everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you find love, however you find love, you found love. I'm not saying I participate in that type of shit, but I'm saying, hey, at whatever floats your boat, I ain't God. I ain't got nothing to say about what you doing. And I also think like this too. God created everything, right? But he gave us free choice. So who's to say? You know what I mean? But that's another topic. But let me get back on what I was talking about, LaToshia Daniels with her crazy self. So now she about to do the charge that she got. She never been arrested before. She never been in trouble before. So her first crime out the gate is shooting and killing her lover. So 2nd-degree murder in the state of Memphis, I think she looking at 15 to 25 years. She got a second conviction. The third conviction, which is involved shooting the wife, the jury found her not guilty. So the jury was buying her story of, you know, the men treating her bad and all that old stuff. She gets sentenced in January, so we got to see what the hell she got going on. Then let's go down to back to Florida, back down to Tallahassee, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, one of the two cities. And it's a lady named, I can't remember her name. I'll figure it out. It's Devin Michaels. She is accused of beheading, chopping her, child, her ex-husband's head off over a custody battle for the kids. Now, she was an alleged porn star and started messing with the husband's son from another marriage. And she got secretly married to the husband's son on the low. And the husband's son and her was plotting to get these kids back, because she lost the kids, custody of the kids, to her ex-husband. And yeah, she came over to her former mother-in-law's house, and reportedly helping him move. And he drinks all the time, and he passes out drunk, and she winds up bludgeoning him and chopping his head smooth off. What the fuck is going on? So this is what I deduce, okay? This is what I deduce from watching all these For Your Man videos, and because anyway, sometimes I get into a rabbit hole, and I'll be like, oh my God, what? Oh Lord, have mercy, Jesus. I come to the conclusion that I like my life. It's peaceful. It's peaceful. And shout out to y'all who got you a little man. Because listen, you're going to probably dislike me for saying this. I'm going to be voted off the island for saying it. But I know you dealing with some bullshit. I'm gonna tell you this much. If you ain't dealing with some bullshit, you dealing with some bullshit that I ain't gonna be dealing with. And I'm gonna tell you 3 things I ain't dealing with. Off top. You ain't about to be laying in my bed, snoring in my face, disrupting my sleep all fucking night. Nope, that's not happening. I got a story about that. And you ain't gonna be coming in my bathroom, pissing all over my toilet and the floor, and now I gotta clean it up. That's not about to be happening either. Nope. Back to you ain't about to be coming in there expecting me to have no fucking meal ready and pick up your filthy clothes or wash them. Nope, that shit ain't about to be happening either. Now, some people like to do that. That's what they want to do with their life. That's their grand idea. You know, fuck that. Hey, some instincts I wasn't born with, and those I'm not born with. I cannot tolerate that. My mother told me, listen, you was born by yourself. 9 times out of 10, you gonna leave this world the same way. But I deduce from looking at all these stories about these women having troubles with their men, it ain't worth it. Child, it ain't worth it. Listen, everybody want companionship, right? Everybody want them some companionship. But at what cost? At what cost? The last serious relationship that I was involved in, it was for 11 years. And it stopped a few months after I founded my company, Thixotic. It ceased at that point because I got an email, an inbox, a Facebook inbox from a woman that told me that my dude, my fiance, who I'm wearing a 5-carat diamond ring for, who bought me Corvettes for my birthday, took me on trips all around the world, bought me all type of fine jewelry, and yeah, I can name a whole bunch of shit that he did. But anyway, we ain't trying to give him all the credit in the world. But he paid like he weighed. Shout out to my sister Gail, because my sister Gail would offer me challenges. She's like, yeah, make that nigga do this, make that nigga do that. And I would go to him and tell him, listen, for my birthday, I want a Corvette. Damn if I didn't get a Corvette. I'd be like, I want to get a house. Damn if I didn't get a house. Yeah. I want to go to Greece. I want to go to France. I want to go to Seychelles. Damn if I wasn't in all them places. Okay. Nigga paid like he weighed. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. But at what cost? Yeah, the lady was in my inbox telling me that was her man. I was like, okay, you can have him. It wasn't no, she wanted to have a Barbara Shirley moment. The nigga, you met Tanaya, and Miss Tanaya don't give a fuck. She said, yeah, you can have him. Because the real reality of the situation is, it was always somebody in the wings. He probably watching this live right now. Hey, boo. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I have deduced from looking at all these situations that it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I don't care if you black, white, yellow, green. These men ain't got no type of integrity. They don't have no type of loyalty. And they give these physiological explanations on why men can't be faithful, because men are hunters and men are visual creatures and they are fulfill themselves physically by doing. Nigga, please. And it makes me think back in the day when they say, oh, in the 50s and 60s, our family stayed together. They did this, they did that, but at what cost? What this type of shit did the women have to put up with? All I know is I ain't putting up with none of that shit. Period. So let's go tell the story time about me and the preacher. Yeah, girl, I got a story time about me and the preacher. I met this preacher, and this is at a time back where I wasn't jaded. Okay, I'm still looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. I'm young, and I'm thinking, if I could just find me a man and we can link, and he got a good job in the area that I was from, the automobile industries, working for the utility companies, working for the steel mills. Those were the men that you were trying to get because you know they had a good job. Just like you try out in West, you try to get the dudes to work on the dock, the longshoremen, shit like that. So you know they got a big ass paycheck. They gonna be able to take care of the bills. That's what I'm looking at. So anyway, I was involved in the church because, like I said, you know, I was in the church and I was at the mosque at the same time because of my family just set up that way. Anyway, if you don't know that story, you can look at another live. I'll tell you my life story from there. But fact of the matter, I was in this church and I was in the choir singing too. Anyway, we went to visit this church and I met this black dude, and I got an affinity for super dark men. And I know people are saying that what's up with your ex, because this nigga is not super dark, he's super skinny, and he looked like Kermit the Frog. What the fuck was on your mind? Anyway, I digress. But I like super dark men. They're very attractive to me. And I like men that look like Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, if they look like him, I'm in love off sight. If his eyeball crooked, ooh, yes, honey, I got hearts in my eyes. I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Anyway, but serious, that's what I like. That's who I like. Okay, so this pastor fit that bill, but this is before the Notorious B.I.G's time. I didn't even know a Notorious B.I.G. at this point, or maybe he was just coming out at that time. But yeah, anyway, he fit that bill. And I was trying to talk to him and trying to get him. And he was a little preacher. He was a young preacher. His dad was a major preacher of a church. And we had went to visit the church. And our choir sung at that church. And I liked this little dude, man. His name was Tyrell. And I could speak about him now because he ain't even on this earth no more. God rest his soul. But Tyrell was a nasty, filthy dog hoe. God forgive me. But he was. He was out of order and out of pocket. Thank God I found out that he had slept through the choir, my choir, because these 3 girls in my choir wanted to fight me. Now, we had a choir director named Sister Taylor. Love me some Sister Taylor. She has passed on too. God bless her soul. But Sister Taylor was giving me a opportunity to lead this song. And it was magnify the Lord. We come to magnify. Anyway, let me digress. But girl, some girl named Sandra rolled up on me. She was like, you like Terrell? And I was like, Terrell like me. Terrell approached me. She was like, well, Terrell my man. And I was like, okay, shit. And listen, one thing I will not ever do, rose-colored glasses on or not, is fight over no dude. Girl, you got me. Shit. Anyway, Sandra says this, and 2 other girls was like, what? He supposed to be my man. So now Sandra got beef not only with me, but with these 2 bras. And I was like church finger, you gotta go to the bathroom? Let me excuse myself. I was like, Terrell. So Terrell proceeds to call me, and this is at a time when you don't have block on the phone. Thank God for that invention. Whoever created that invention was ingenious. So he decided to come to my crib. He knocking on the door. Nigga, what the fuck do you want? And he like, why you ain't answer my calls? Why you ain't call me back? I said, hey, Terrell, dude, you done slept through the whole choir. You looking bad. Your shit is raggedy out here. And nigga, get off my stoop before it be a problem out this bitch in a real way, okay? Girl. Terrell turns around and want to fight me because I've rejected him. I did not give him opportunity to be a dog in my life because all this shit was early on. Just for anything could ever transpired, not even a kiss. This nigga mad because I robbed him of the opportunity to make me part of his harem and dog me out and give me some motherfucking trauma that I have to be dealing with for the rest of my days. And do you want to know something? Sandra married this hoe. Yeah. When that dude passed away, Sandra was his wife, crying and screaming and shucking and jiving and doing the most. And you know he didn't transform and turn into a faithful man. And he's supposed to be a man of God. Child. I can tell you some stories about them pastors. I went to a church in Watts. I had a neighbor named Mrs. Smith. She was 100 years old. This is when I lived in Carlton Square. And she had a condo in Carlton Square too. And she used to leave lunches on my truck every day because I used to work. And when I would come out to my truck, it would be a paper bag on the hood of my car. And she would pack me a nice lunch with an apple or orange and a little note there. Yes, nice, sweet little lady. And y'all probably know Mrs. Smith, or y'all from Carlton Square. Anyway, she invited me to go to. She would ask me to come over to her house, and I seen that she was lonely and shit. You know, I ain't got no like real family out that way, so I will go visit her and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And I'll sit over there and let her talk about her husband, and she would cry, I miss him so. And and she had pictures of him around the house and everything, and I was like, okay. She invited me to come to her church. Now I forget the name of the church, but I'm gonna figure it out. But I went to the church with her. It's over in Watts, and at this time I'm on my second Corvette. Okay, so I drive my second Corvette over there, and longing to belong, I decide to join the church. They invite me to a new member breakfast. I come to the new member breakfast, and I'm the only person there with this pastor who looked like T.D. Jakes. And he's scooting all close and getting all in my face. And what do you do for a living? Are you married? Do you have kids? Nigga, what? See. I ain't the one for that bullshit, right? And I say, hey, you know what, bro? I'm feeling uncomfortable. And this pastor's breakfast was early in the morning. And I ain't got time to be waking up that early on no Sunday. Especially when I work all them hours every day of the week. And I said, you know what? Put my church finger up. I'm excuse myself. And I never came back to that church again. But I mentioned the Corvette because when I was leaving that church and I was trying to get the fuck up out of there, these YNs was standing in the street. They were just standing in the middle of the street. Like, they wanted me to stop so that they was moving out the way so I wouldn't run them over. I know a plot when I see one. I just got pushed up on by the whole ass pastor. Now I'm about to get robbed by the YNs and Watts. Nigga, I floored that Corvette because there's going to be some dead young niggas that day. Man, I ain't never been a Watts since. Bad taste in my mouth. Okay, another pastor story. I go to this other church because all the little people that I know is going to this church. I call it the hip hop church. And everybody was going over there and everybody was going over there. I decided to go to the church too because, you know, the person who invited me shall remain nameless because I'm certain she don't want to be on anyway. She's very close to me. Somebody is very near and dear to my heart. And so I go with them. And this particular Sunday, the pastor, I was trying to follow what he's talking about because I'm not a dumb person. I don't know everything, but I know something. So I'm listening. And I'm trying to follow what he's talking about. And the shit he talking about don't make no sense. He all over the place. So I said, oh yeah, okay. This is a talent show. First they had all these singing acts up here. And these people praise dancing and doing all this. And now he's up here shucking and jiving. This is a talent show. He like, and clap your hands and amen and hallelujah. And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? So I'm the only one sitting there like, that's a wolf in sheep clothing. So this particular Sunday happens to be Communion Sunday. So I don't know what it was, but it required everybody to get up out of their seat and walk around, march around, and shake this pastor's hand. And sorry. Sorry. And so it come time for our owl to get up and go shake the pastor's hand. And I'm watching everybody. He got on his white glove. And everybody's shaking. And he and grinning at everybody's face. How you doing? And shaking everybody's hand and doing all this. And I'm watching a couple people sliding money. And he's stuffing it in the glove. I'm watching this, okay? And because my former employment required me to be observant, okay? Let's leave it at that. Anyway, I'm watching this shit and I'm like, okay. So I'm in the line, not because I want to be, because I'm forced to be, because they moving the people out of the rows, okay? And if I'm the last one, if I'm the only one sitting in the row, I'm the odd man. I don't know what the fuck wrong with her. Anyway, it was harm shaking dude's hand. So I go up there to shake dude's hand. And he touched my hand, but pulled it back. It's like he was electrical shocked. Why? Because he met somebody who he wasn't fooling. That's why. And I seen the demon in him. His eyebrows like Diddy's. He got that point on his eyebrow. He got them points on his eyebrow that look like you the devil himself. Hip-hop pastor. If I say the name in the church, you know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, I ain't been back there since. Ain't been back there since at all. And I'm not, I'm only going because the people that surrounded me at that time all was going there. And I'm being supportive because I was invited by somebody that's near and dear to me and close that I love. Ciao. I decided to embrace what I know, and that's Islam, because none of that type of shit go on in the mosque. I'm telling you that right now. Also, at that same church, bro, you know I'm gonna stay out that place. I'm gonna give you a call, bro. But my brother on here, hey baby, I love you, but that's my brother. Anyway. Ciao. That same church was like with a new member package, not the hip hop pastor church, the church with the hoe ass dog ass pastor. They gave me a package to complete so they can assign me some envelopes for tithing. And they asked me all type of questions about employment, the last W-2 report, what is this amount, so they can assign what your tithing should be. And in my head, I'm saying, what the fuck God need with money? God created everything. He don't need that with our money. See, they done brainwashed you into believing some shit that's not real. It's, how am I going to pull up to this church and I don't know how I'm going to feed my child after service or pay my light bill that's due this week? But you demanding that I tithe, and I feel like the odd person out if I ain't put nothing in his collection plate. But the pastor pulling up here in a Bentley, and his wife got the big old church hats with the nice silk suits sitting on the front row, all pious and shit. And I'm like, struggling. You supporting the pastor's lifestyle. These talking about the building fund, and the building don't look no different 10 years later. Come on, bro. Anyway, I went from talking about dog ass men to fucking pulpit pimps. I'll end the story by telling you this. Back when I was a lot younger, and I was involved in the church that I met the Tyrell dude that was messing with Sandra and all the other people in the choir. Outside of that experience with that dude, he belonged to another church. We had just visited him. But the church that I went to was a Bible preaching, Bible teaching church. And I learned the word in this church. And when you walked into that church, you felt the Spirit of God. And that was Pastor Price. Shout out to Pastor Price. He was an amazing preacher. Raising preacher. And the members were amazing. I ain't got nothing bad to say about them. But back during that time, I was involved with these people that I love, still love. Shout out Pam, shout out Sharice. But Sharice's mama, she the one who actually created the Good Loves. And if y'all know me, prior to my little foray into Thixotic, the Good Loves was my clique. And the Good Loves consisted of a bunch of highly educated highly ambitious young women from Southern Maryland and Washington, D.C. They were dentists, lawyers, law enforcement, all type of things. And I belong to the Good Loves. Anyway, Good Love stood for doing everything good for everything you love, and that's important to you. Okay, so anyway, her mama, Sharif's mama, set us down because she was highly in the church, and she said, I want y'all to watch this movie. And this movie was called The Rapture. Man, this movie stressed me out. I was like, for real? This is what's about to go down? And I watched this movie probably back in 1994, 95. Every fucking shit in that movie is coming true today. But one thing that stood out to me in that movie was the pulpit pimps, the lying preachers, the ones that are using the church for their own good, for their own benefit, and not for the benefit of the people. That their punishment is that their tongue is going to be cut out with a hot pair of scissors while they burn in hell for all eternity, and that God was going to allow their tongue to grow back, and He's going to cut it out again. And see, that's going to be can you imagine that being your fate for all eternity for doing this evil and wicked work here on this earth? Y'all pulpit pimps better watch out. You better repent now and pull yourself together. And if you know one, you better tell them, because God ain't playing with y'all. Bro, for real. Okay. Okay, bro, I'm gonna call you in a minute. He texted me. I'm gonna call you in a minute, baby. And ciao. Better let them know, because that ain't what's up. And yeah, I'm not gonna battle the marriage between Christianity and Islam, because it ain't that type of party, because we believe in the tenets as well. However, that shit ain't going on in the mosque. And if it is, come let me know. Matter of fact, when you meet somebody that you know is part of the Nation of Islam, they are upstanding, righteous brother with integrity. Am I lying? I'm not lying. They're a soldier. They're an upright individual. And that's what I like. That's what I like. I like that no matter if you agree with the faith or not, you cannot deny the fact that whatever is teaching these men to be men of integrity and men of substance, men of distinction, real facts. Okay? Now your church is filled with a bunch of people that is not men. They play for both sides. You don't know. So you got all type of shit as a woman that you're dealing with out here. And if you a woman of a certain age like myself, you got to be real careful, because anybody coming at you now is coming at you for you to take care of them, or they looking at you as you desperate, that you accept anything, and that you'll settle for anything because you rather have somebody than I have nobody. But I'm gonna tell you like my mother told me, and I'm gonna get off this live. You was born by yourself if you wasn't a fucking twin, and 9 times out of 10 you're gonna leave here the same way. Of course everybody wants some companionship, but be careful. Read the fine print and know what the fuck you buying, okay? And don't be inviting no trouble in your life. If you don't have none right now, if you invite another individual in your life that got a bunch of shit going on with them, you inheriting that shit. And why would you want to disrupt your peace? I know I don't. Let me tell you something right now. The people that I deal with of the opposite sex, we have an understanding. Okay? They know exactly how I get down and who the fuck I am and what my expectations are. And I've explained this before 80,000 times. Why is this girl calling me? Because I don't even talk to this shit. Anyway, just be careful. Just be careful, because you don't know what the fuck going on out here today. People got mental issues. People coming to you with unhealed traumas, and you just trying to love them. And you, barter, come out to deal with a kid that you got to take care of by yourself. He done ruined your credit. He done robbed your bank account. He done fucked with your self-esteem. He done beat you down. He even tried to kill you. I mean, all type of shit. Man, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. If your ass is worth it, real men stand up. Me and my friend was talking about doing a pop the balloon event in the city, because you know it's real men out here that are afraid to date women because they've been damaged. Okay, it works two ways. It ain't just all bad men and women good. No, it's funky tail women too. Okay, but it's good women out here that's saying, you know what, I follow some of these threads and posts and look at it where a woman is bashing men. It'd be 8,000 women saying, see, that's why I'm alone. That's why I stay in my house. That's why I don't be bothered. Man, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that the vast majority of women feel that way. And then on the opposite side, it's a bunch of men who have been traumatized by no good ass women who feel, they be like, man, when Kevin Samuels came out, Kevin Samuels was their daddy. Kevin Samuels was their God. Kevin Samuels, they was like, yeah, fuck them funky ass tail women. You know, they was on with it, whatever Kevin Samuels was saying. You know, I'm a high value man. She's a low value woman. And yeah, she's a damaged goods and Anyway, it's good men out there just like there's good women. But finding them is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And who the fuck got time? Anyway, I done talked y'all ear off and I had to say what I had to say. And like I said, at this stage of the game, it just ain't fucking worth it. And that's all I got to say. I don't care if you agree with me or not. Because like my boy Sean G say, the human, it's no good. It's no good. It's no good. The ones with the base level with no morality, they have not grasped onto anything that is of quality and substance. They're no good. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Well, that's the end of my live today. Like I said, y'all keep it gangster and stay cute best as you can. Peace.